Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Chan. In today's video, we are talking about something a little on the morbid side, but it's something we've all been exposed to at one point or another, and that is the dangers of children's toys. Today we're going to be talking about several toys, most of them marketed directly towards children, that actually ended up killing people. One item in particular actually claimed the lives of about a dozen kids. Anything can be dangerous to a child. A simple everyday object can be shoved down a windpipe and choked on, ingested.
What about this little foam play ball? I mean, even you, Mr. Mainway, can't find anything dangerous about this?
So yeah, bouncing on a tower.
In 2018, there were over 226,000 toy-related injuries treated in U.S. hospital emergency departments, with 17 reports of toy-related deaths. So in the comments down below, let me know if you had any of these toys we're going to be discussing today, or had any other dangerous toys that you had a close call with. So, here we go. Number 7. Jarts. Not sharts. Invented by dentist Lawrence Barnett in the 1950s, jarts soon became a common activity at barbecues and picnics throughout the 60s and 70s. Jarts, which was also known as javelin darts and lawn darts, was a combination of both horseshoes and darts. It was a backyard game which included 2 sets of differently colored darts and 2 targets or rings that were to be placed on the ground. Kids and adults were meant to toss the darts in the air and aim for inside the targets. Problem was, these weren't just any old little darts. These were 12-inch long jumbo darts with a weighted metal spiked tip on the end that was sharp enough to stand erect once a jart hit the ground. These darts had the means to pierce through a skull. In 1970, the US FDA mandated that jarts added warning labels to its packaging, noting that they were for use by adults only. In 1987, a 7-year-old California girl was killed by a lawn dart thrown by one of her brother's playmates in the backyard of their home. Because of this incident, in 1988, jarts and lawn darts were banned in the US. While the ban was being voted on, that same week, an 11-year-old girl from Tennessee was hit by a lawn dart and went into a coma. It was recommended to consumers to destroy any remaining games.
My cousin and me right here, we was throwing jarts at each other. It's all right up here. This is the real concern right up there. There's your problem.
Jarts contributed to over 6,000 visits to emergency rooms by Americans. 80% of those were aged 15 and under. Along with that were the deaths of 3 children, including one put into a coma. After the jart controversy, alternative lawn dart games entered the market with safer, blunt-tipped versions. Number 6. Burger King Pokemon Balls. In November 1999, kids at Burger King were treated to a surprise in their kids' meals. It was the Pokemon promotion used to promote the new film Pokemon the First Movie.
Now at Burger King, limited edition toys and trading cards from Pokemon the First Movie. One inside every tasty Burger King Big Kids meal you buy.
All toys came enclosed in a Pokeball, along with a trading card and over 50 toys in total. There was also a set of 6 23-karat gold-plated cards, which came in Pokeballs that were available to buy. The main set of Pokemon ball toys were plastic ball-shaped containers between 2.75 and 3 inches in diameter, which could be pulled apart to reveal a toy inside. But in December, a 13-month-old girl suffocated when one half of a Pokemon ball covered her nose and mouth. And again in December, an 18-month-old girl nearly suffocated when a ball half got stuck over her face. But her father managed to pull the ball from her face in time. Burger King issued a recall of more than 25 million Pokeballs at the end of December, as it was now apparent the balls posed a suffocation hazard to children under the age of 3. Burger King urged consumers to destroy and discard their Pokeballs that came inside their kids' meals, or they could return both halves of the Pokeball in and receive a free order of small fries. But in January of 2000, a 4-month-old boy in Indianapolis suffocated when one half of a Pokeball was in his crib and became stuck on his face. Number 5. Battlestar Galactica Missile Firing Vehicles. In 1978, Mattel's new line of Battlestar Galactica toys hit the shelves and hoped to rival such lines as Kenner's Star Wars. 4 months later, and there are several reports of children swallowing or inhaling one of the missiles from its toy line. The toys involved were the Colonial Viper, Colonial Scarab, Colonial Stellar Probe, and the Cylon Raider.
Where the Cylon Raider meets the Colonial Viper starship, you assemble and change the Colonial Stellar Probe to a fighter.
Add booster.
You can change the Colonial Scarab.
Pilot, set. Missiles loaded. Launch!
Battlestar Galactica.
Each of the toys were equipped with missiles at about 1¼ inches long. With regards to the Colonial Viper vehicle, the missiles were loaded and released through the nose of the ship via a spring mechanism with a lever on top, allowing the projectiles to launch up to 6 feet in distance when fired.
Load laser torpedo. Cylon Raider, launch. Colonial Viper, launch!
4-year-old Robert Jeffrey Warren, known as Jeffrey, received the Colonial Viper and the Cylon Raider vehicles for Christmas, and 6 days later, he was dead. One of the red plastic missiles that came with his vehicles lodged into the boy's larynx, and the boy was taken to a hospital where the missile was removed. But his brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long, and he died from complications later. Within that same month, 8-year-old Eric Carlson told his father he was pretending his mouth was a cave. So he fired a shot from his new Battlestar Galactica Colonial Viper rocket ship into his mouth. Several days later, surgery was performed to remove the toy from his partially collapsed infected lung. The next month, another case. After a doctor in Atlanta discovered a red plastic missile in the partially collapsed lung of a 7-year-old boy named Christopher Auger. 9-year-old Tom Rosinski also needed surgery to remove a missile from his lung as well. So on January 11th, Mattel issued a recall order for the Battlestar Galactica vehicles and redesigned the line to have non-firing missiles. Jeffrey's death sparked a new movement in the toy industry that vouched for warning labels on toys with small hazardous pieces. During this time, where parents were petitioning against toys with projectiles, Kenner's Star Wars line of toys missed out on their mail-away Boba Fett with a rocket-firing jetpack. The firing mechanism was removed from the design. To add insult to injury to Star Wars, the cause of death written on Jeffrey's coroner's report was misidentified as a Star Wars toy instead of a Battlestar Galactica toy. Number 4. Kite tubes. Kite tubing was a water sport that was popular for a very brief time and was a mix of both water tubing and parasailing. Riders had a floor to stand on and grips to hold onto, while their tube was being pulled by a boat at speeds of above 20 miles per hour, and the tubes had the capacity to rise up 30 feet in the air. Ejected riders could hit the water at speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. It's not hard to imagine what kind of injuries could arise from hitting the water at such a high speed and at the wrong angle. First released at the end of 2005, the sport spiked in popularity in 2006. And by July 2006, there were already 84 injuries and 3 deaths recorded over a 4-month period. Punctured lungs, broken backs, riders losing consciousness. Recalls were put into place, and it soon became illegal to use kite tubes in many areas of the US and Canada. You can still find these kite tubes on eBay every now and then, but good luck finding a body of water to legally use these on, or finding a person that doesn't mind watching you break your neck while slamming into the water. Number 3. Magnetics building sets.
All new, let's see what you can do.
In 2005, Magnetics building sets were among the top 10 most wanted building sets, and a top seller on various sites including Amazon. It was a construction toy consisting of plastic pieces with magnets and steel-bearing balls that could be connected together to form various shapes and structures. But soon, Magnetics was in the media for all the wrong reasons, as an early manufacturing defect caused the magnets to become detached from the plastic building pieces. Magnetics caused the death of a 20-month-old after the young boy ingested the pieces and they clumped together in his small intestine, causing a blockage. After over 1,000 reports regarding the detached magnets and several other children suffering serious injuries, the sets were recalled in 2006. By 2007, after another recall, 26 intestinal injuries were reported that required immediate surgery. Number 2. Worlds of Wonder laser tag.
There, buddy, it's all yours.
Wow!
Each gun makes lots of battle sounds. Just press the trigger and listen.
This sounds like a gun battle over there. Looks like real. Hey, it sounds like real.
Toy guns have been around for ages, and for the longest time, companies were trying to make these guns as close to the real thing as possible. Through the years, there have been numerous accidents and deaths regarding the mistaken identity of toy guns that are believed to be a real firearm. A famous case in 1983 involved a 5-year-old Stanton boy killed by a police officer who mistook the young boy's plastic pistol for a real gun. But it was a laser tag gun that many feel sparked change in the industry forever. Star Trek came out with the first known laser tag toys that used both infrared light and a sensor. That was the Star Trek electronic phaser guns by South Bend in 1979, which accompanied the release of Star Trek, the motion picture. In 1986, laser tag toys soared to popularity when photon toys hit the shelves in conjunction with the laser tag toys by Worlds of Wonder. In 1987, a group of deputies were called to investigate reports of armed prowlers around a California schoolyard at night. 19-year-old Leonard Falcon, along with his 3 companions who ranged in age from 16 to 20, were playing with their new laser tag guns and gear, which were one of the top-selling toys that Christmas. They engaged in a mock combat scenario at night to add a degree of difficulty to the game and better see the lights on their gear. When the deputy team came to investigate, Falcon then jumped out in a shooting stance, pointing his laser gun at a deputy. The deputy saw a flash from Falcon's gun and fired his own 12-gauge shotgun and killed the boy. When the deputy went to recover the weapon, he only then realized it was a plastic gun. Perhaps Falcon thought the deputy was one of his friends, or a passerby he wanted to startle. Because of this incident, Worlds of Wonder switched both the Starlight pistol and the Starlight Pro rifle from black plastic to white, to avoid another case of mistaken identity. But according to some, the negative publicity was too much to overcome, and it contributed to Worlds of Wonder's bankruptcy. Since the 70s, there have been calls to action for the regulation or the ban of toy guns altogether. But it wasn't until the end of the 80s that lawmakers began to take steps, and many speculate the incident with Falcon was a possible catalyst. Finally, in 1992, toy guns were now required to bear a solid blaze orange plug at the tip of their barrels, or to be colored entirely white, or another bright color. And number 1, mini hammocks. Hammocks have been around for ages, but mini hammocks spiked in popularity in the 80s and 90s. These kid-size hammocks were lightweight, thin net hammocks that were made without a spreader bar. A spreader bar normally allowed for the hammock to stay open, but without one, the hammock now had the ability to twist around a child's neck, resulting in strangulation as they were climbing in or out and became tangled. Between the mid-80s and 90s, at least 12 children died after getting tangled in their mini hammocks. In addition, a 7-year-old girl suffered permanent brain damage from a near strangulation in a mini hammock. Ultimately, at least 10 manufacturers joined together to recall 3 million mini hammocks in 1996. So that is my list, everyone. Hope you found it interesting. Maybe you learned something, maybe something surprised you, but let me know in the comments down below if you ever played with any of these toys back in the day, or are there any other toys that you had a close call with? So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I come out with new videos every week. Come check me out on social media and help support the channel on Patreon. So thank you all so much for watching, and stay legendary.